Ladies and gentlemen and in-betweeners, I'm your host, Alexander Rodriguez, here with On the Rocks radio show where celebrities and cocktails mix. Tonight, we have a filmmaker's dream with the stars of Best Friends, a.k.a. Best Fiends, now available for download with writer, director, actor Tommy Wiseau from The Room. We have Greg Sestero, actor and New York bestseller author of The Disaster Artist, with my guest co-host, writer-director Jorge Chilapa Jr. So raise a glass and let the drinks begin.
And most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, coming at you from Sunset Gower Studios in the heart of Hollywood, where I drink with your favorite celebrities and we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and that's about it. So pop a cork, pour a glass, lean back, and enjoy On the Rocks every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Universal Broadcasting Network.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Lord help us, buttons and bows and pantyhose, it's going to be a bumpy night. I am so excited for tonight. We've been trying to make it happen for a while, but it's perfect because we are on the eve, or today actually, Best Friends comes out, downloadable. So super, super excited. Thank you to our sober listeners for tuning in. We love you too. Thank you for holding our hair back and driving us home. If drunk texting was a sport, I'd be an Olympian. Wah, wah. I don't get any applause, Kurt? No, not for that. Oh, God. Okay, thank you. Okay. Hello to our listeners around the nation on iHeartRadio, Universal Broadcasting Network, Player FM, Stitcher, TuneIn, Satchel, iTunes, Google Play. Of course, we are on Facebook Live, on Hillcrest Social in San Diego, True FM in Ohio. Hello, Ohio. And nationally on Bear World Magazine. Rawr! Check out my weekly movie news, celebrity interviews, and a lot more in Bear World Magazine. For our audio listeners, you can check out the video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, the Hillcrest Social app with all of our On the Rocks video. Download it today. Check it out. Kurt, hello, Kurt. How are you today? Do you have a pun for us today?
I do.
Oh, God. Hurry it up. We have important people here. He's so punny, you guys. I'm telling you.
Did you know I have a fear of elevators?
Oh, God. Why, Kurt?
Well, I'm taking steps to avoid them.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
That's not my laughter. I'm sorry.
You guys don't put that in your next film. It's not usable. Thank you, Kurt, so much. As you've noticed, we are in a different studio because we have a very special episode. So excited. I'm very excited, by the way. I have a script of The Room. I have the book, The Disaster Artist. I have a Blu-ray of The Room. So you guys, you promised to sign this at the end of the show?
Sure.
For me, I'm so excited. Like us on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks On Air, Facebook, On The Rocks Radio Show. Subscribe to us, like I said, on YouTube. Find us on the web, ontherocksradioshow.com. Send me an email. Book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care. I will show up. Info at ontherocksradioshow.com. Last week, we saw the premiere of my new national TV talk show, Glitter Bomb, where we chatted with guest Justina Machado from One Day at a Time and 6 Feet Under, actress Jen Lyon from TNT's Claws, and much more. We got a great response from the premiere. Thank you guys for tuning in. We broadcast to over 22 million homes across the nation. Be sure to check us out every Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at 10 p.m. Do you always have to say that now? I mean, don't people know it's 3 hours on the different coasts?
Some people don't.
Who doesn't? Okay, so many words to say. Go to latv.com/schedule to find out what station we are on in your city. Season 1 is full of celebrities and fun stuff, including our New York Fashion Week special, where we literally invaded New York. Go like Glitter Bomb on Instagram at Glitter Bomb TV. We were also featured in People Magazine and shows to watch on New Now Next. Want to join On the Rocks on the Road? I am the official MC at Palm Springs Pride the first weekend of November. I will be on the main stage Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with a slew of live performers and celebrities. Check it out. Go to palmspringspride.org. Let me introduce my bestie for the night, my guest co-host, Jorge Chilapa Jr., born in Mexico City. He's a filmmaker residing in L.A. From dreams of becoming a commercial airline pilot to leaving law school after watching Black Swan 6 times in a row to make films, he has hit the independent filmmaking industry by storm. Although he did not attend film school, his writing and directing method has been critically acclaimed by many in the industry. He launched Mighty Aphrodite Pictures that focuses on the creation of strong, diverse, and independent female protagonists. What's wrong with the guys? Hello, we need a film.
We have a lot of those already.
Oh, all right.
No, we need women in film.
Okay. How about like a Hey Girl Hey?
Okay, maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna get my own film. In 2016, he had the great fortune of directing his first feature film titled Blue Line Station, filmed entirely on an iPhone 6 Plus with an anamorphic adapter, which I'm sure is some tech thing that I don't even know. Do you know what that is? No,
No.
anamorphic.
It just makes the footage cinescope. Love
fabulous.
does, yeah.
I should buy one for my Grindr profile. He shot it in 11 days. The film successfully made its way to the film festival circuit, winning awards across the nation, granting him several accolades and awards. No danger of slowing down. He released Valentina last year, a very powerful picture. Once again, proved Jorge a darling of the film festival circuit, with so many more film projects on the way. Please welcome Jorge Chilapa Jr.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here because I'm actually a huge fan of you guys. And I will tell you why.
Okay, tell us.
As a filmmaker.
Yes, as a filmmaker,
yeah.
So I'm really, really happy to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me. I can't wait to talk more about
You
it.
didn't even give me a chance. You're like, I have to be there. I was like, okay, Jorge, put me in a film. But as a filmmaker, why does the whole Wiseau world and the Disaster Artist book, and especially this new film, Best Friends, why does it speak to you as a filmmaker?
I think more than anything, just both of you guys as filmmakers, because I had given up making films and I came across your film, and you really made me like change my perspective, and I just went out and did my first film. Right. So when he invited me, and I was like, yes, I want to be there. I want to meet him. I want to tell him how much I look up to him, and it means a lot. I mean, I people just talk all the time about making stuff, and you guys actually went out and did it, and I respect that a lot. To me, that's it's all about creating art, and for me, art is very subjective all the time, and I value that a lot. So when I get to meet people like you and talk about your work and your process, to me, that's very inspiring. So thank you for making your films, because I probably wouldn't be here.
And you guys created the room where you couldn't shoot films on your iPhone. Social media wasn't so big to help you out. Like, you guys were literally doing it all yourself, which we read about in The Disaster Artist. We'll talk about how close to reality that book was. But you guys made a splash pop culture history with your film. And we're going to talk about Best Friends. We're going to talk about the book, The Disaster Artist, and of course, we're going to talk about The Room. Let's take a look at the film trailer that started it all. The Room, written, starring, produced, directed by Tommy Wiseau, also starring Greg Sestero, who would later write the New York Times best-selling book, The Disaster Artist, based on his experience. Kurt, take it away.
A perfect world.
These are for you.
Thanks, honey. They're beautiful.
A perfect life.
I would do anything for my girl.
I love you, Lisa.
I love you, Johnny.
He provides for you. Darling, you can't support yourself.
I don't love him anymore. He didn't get his promotion. And he got drunk last night. And he hit me.
It's not true. I did not hit her. Well, maybe you should have a girl, Mark. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I have one already. I don't know yet.
We can't do this anymore. Johnny's my best friend. This will be our secret.
Don't worry. You can trust me.
Who are expecting?
I'm your future husband.
You sure about that?
Please talk to me, please. You're having an affair with Lisa, aren't you?
I need more from life than what Johnny can give me.
She's a sociopath. She can't love anyone.
There is no baby. I told him that to make it interesting.
But you're such a manipulative witch.
You're hurting yourself. You're hurting our friendship.
I treat you like a princess, and you stab me in the back. You are tearing me apart, Lisa! Hey, Danny. Where's my money, Danny?
Put the gun down.
What the hell is wrong with you? Shut up.
Hey! Get out of this world!
The Room, a film with the passion of Tennessee Williams, directed by Tommy Wiseau. The best movie of the year. Experience this quirky new black comedy. It's a riot.
Certainly a riot. It caused a riot in the filmmaking world. How many times have you guys seen that trailer?
I saw this trailer. Actually, I created with my editor maybe 100 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so emotional he can't even speak.
I haven't seen it in a while, and it's pretty powerful, and it made me think maybe I should have a girl.
Yeah, maybe you should.
I love how it has that old-fashioned narrator, that was like the epitome of every great film with that, in the world of the room, like it had all that going for it.
Yeah, I feel like seeing it, it's like in the canon of all the great classic trailers.
But how does that feel, though, seeing, it's
and having come so far.
Yeah, I mean, after so many years, I would probably I don't know. It's cool. It's cool to me, to see stuff like that. After so many years still going strong, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's different. It's different. It obviously was unique and was sending a different message, and it's still around, which is crazy.
Well, and the good, the bad, and the ugly of filmmaking. Like I said, you guys, had the ups and downs, which we read about in your book. But at the end of the day, such an emotional experience that really has taken the world, because there's screenings all over the world, repeating the lines, dressing up, and continue to for sold-out screenings across the world, which is a great foundation, of course, for the new film, Best Friends, now available on iTunes, by the way. Let me formally introduce our guest for tonight, Tommy Wiseau, an American actor, director, screenwriter, and producer, trained to be an actor at American Conservatory Theater, Vince Chase Workshop, Jen Shelton Acting Lab, Laney College, and Stella Adler Academy of Acting. 2001, of course, he wrote, produced, directed, and starred in The Room. 2004, he produced the documentary Homeless in America, which received the 2004 Social Award. The Room went on to be regarded a cult classic and has been studied in film schools around the world. And taking matters into his own hands, he received his SAG card by writing, producing, starring, and directing a commercial for his own clothing company. Genius way to get your SAG card, by the way. Where can I get my clothing company?
To create one first.
Tommy's life has been shrouded in mystique, becoming a legend to his own self. We do know that he loves vampires, wearing sunglasses, and has been inspired by the films of Elia Kazan and Alfred Hitchcock. He's extremely giving to his fans, which you can see through fans' Instagram and social media. He can be seen at special appearances around the globe. His latest project, Best Friends Volumes 1 and 2, reunite him with his early protege, Greg Sestero. Volume 1, again, available on iTunes for your viewing pleasure. Please welcome Tommy Wiseau.
Thank you.
Also joining us, at 17 years old, Greg signed with the prominent San Francisco talent agency. That same year, left for Milan and Paris to work for designers such as Giorgio Armani. And Google these early images of your modeling. Girl, yes. He returned to focus on acting. He began studies at the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco, landed his first role at the age of 18 on Nash Bridges, by the way, which followed with an appearance in the Golden Globe-nominated film Patch Adams, which I love these chapters, by the way, in the Disaster Artist, starring fellow San Francisco native Robin Williams. Soon after, he was signed by the well-known Hollywood agent Iris Burton, which prompted his move to L.A. Of course, he starred in the notorious The Room, which gained an international cult following as the best, worst movie ever made, which that title, that little moniker, has been bandied around so many times. What's good, what's bad, what makes a film good or bad, which is so objective, but that's the moniker that usually comes with the film. He can also be seen in films Retro Puppet Master, and that's a fun watch, by the way. Go watch that. And Dude Bro Party Massacre 3, which was on HBO for a number of months, and I watched it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was so fun. In 2013, he wrote a book entitled The Disaster Artist, and you can download it, but I highly suggest actually holding it in your hands because you're going to want to take this book everywhere with the pictures and everything. And I'm telling you, every time I carried this around LA to finish reading in a coffee shop, everybody came up and said, "Oh my God, I love The Room. I love The Disaster Artist." It's a talking point that has united so many people in the entertainment industry of all kinds. And Greg wrote Best Friends, so we have so much to talk about. Please welcome Greg Sestero. So, Greg, I want to know, what was your inspiration to write Best Friends? How long did it take you? And it says based on true events.
It's a heck of a true event. Yeah, it took me 4 days to write it.
4 days?
I was inspired by this road trip that I took with Tommy years ago, in which we drove up the California coast to go check out where Bodega Bay, where Hitchcock shot the birds.
Right.
And there was a mortuary up there that Tommy was fascinated by, apparently, that was haunted.
We got lost.
Yeah, we got
in a haunted.
We got lost. So it sounds like a really fun trip, right?
Well, yes. Yeah.
So anyway, we were going to stay in this hotel, but Tommy basically thought I was taking him up there to try to kill him.
Right.
So I took that.
That's a good way to start a friendship.
Well, we had already made The Room, so the friendship was well underway.
Oh, okay.
So I basically got the idea from that, and I started writing the script. It took 4 days. And it was a role that I really could see Tommy playing. And I thought, if he could just do this part, I feel like this would be his Brando role, because it really fits him. The way he acts, the way he talks, playing a mortician, I thought could be something really unique. And he was a really good sport. And he said, sure, I'll do it.
Well, and Tommy, I have to say, watching the film, your transitions, your subtleties, your characterization, and your building of a character in Best Friends was such a great turn building from the room. Was it hard to be part of a film that you didn't write or direct?
Well, you just adjust as an actor. So you study the character, number one. Number two, Greg gave me some ideas what he wants from me. And based on this, I just adjust myself. Because my background, as you already summarized all my life, entire my life, that, I did intensive work of acting. I mean, the workshop, I did play on the stage, which I really enjoyed. And so my background is acting, But the question is how you adjust when you work with your best friend. It's much different now. You try to be the same like everything else.
It's very difficult. Maybe you can speak on this and putting cast together because you work with the same kind of core of cast for like the most part.
Yeah, I do. I mean, and that's just because I think we become a family and we kind of just know each other. We know what we like and what we don't like and what our limits are. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm on my 4th feature right now, and I'm working with the same people that I started working from the very beginning, and it's nice to come and say, hey, we can do this and we can do that. And nobody takes anything personal. Mm-hmm. So to see the dynamic between you two and your work, it's amazing because you don't get that a lot. You don't get that a lot in any kind of business. I mean, you could be an attorney, doctor, whatever you call it, but it's good and. Like I said, it feels like home when you come to set and people that you worked with before.
Well, the main thing, when I always think like chemistry
yes.
between actors, and it's much easier. I agree with you that if you already know someone, if you started, people casting somebody and say you, but at the same time, when you have background as an actor, you can adjust, but maybe
Correct.
it's a little harder. But the principle will be the same thing. That's what I say. Yeah.
But it does take, it's a benefit with chemistry, but sometimes it can be a detractor if you're fighting with somebody or if you have drama with somebody behind the scenes. It's hard to put that kind of fourth wall in front.
Well, that's what happened to me. I don't know if you guys have opportunity to check the Dark Knights.
Yes, I love it, by the way. You guys check out The Dark Knight scene.
You didn't mention, haha.
What a great opportunity for you guys to recreate such a favorite scene from The Dark Knight.
So on this note, what you're saying, the same thing that I block myself, like I don't know him in the sense like I know who he is. He played Batman, and I say okay, he's the Batman, and that's what I call good acting. That you try to isolate, but you have to trust another person so you can go to places. So it's like a trigger. We call it an acting trigger. One person give you trigger and all that, but that doesn't take away scene because you don't have to do that. You see, we actors, if I speak for all of actors in Hollywood, we're very self-centered in a sense.
You have to be, though, to survive in this industry.
Right, right. But at the same token, sometimes we're losing touch because you see we should. What I'm always thinking, I say, what the other side can give you, right? But at the same token, you need something because otherwise the scene would not work. Right. You need a chemistry, you need a environment. So
and sometimes when you work with actors that don't give you that,
right?
And you are able to still perform. I think that's
absolutely that's challenge.
Yeah.
But you see, that's what you as a good actor. I agree totally. I was in a situation, small budget, but I said the guy doesn't give me anything. But I try to adjust, and that's what the challenge. What I like,
right? And it's a good challenge. I worked recently with an actor who actually I didn't work with him. I tried to bring him to my film, and he said, "Well, I can't work with this actor." And I said, "But why not?" And he said, "Because there's no chemistry." And I said, "Well, what a shame because you're such a great actor.
Exactly.
You shouldn't care if there's no chemistry."
Well, and acting is acting.
Exactly. And I was like, it's your job to bring it. Maybe she can give it to you because you're not giving it to her.
But you see, based what you're telling me now, if I jump in 5 seconds.
It's your show, Tommy. You guys are our guests. You can say whatever you want.
But you're right. You see, the actor, I don't know him, but that was his wrong answer.
Correct.
Because you see, that's what the challenge is. Is somebody giving you as an actor can do it.
Right.
You should never depend on somebody else to make your talent look good or your skill look good. You should show up as an actor 110% ready, ready to not get direction, ready to not get along with the actors, ready to not have the best script. Because if you come ready, then you're pleasantly surprised when it works out, and then that spark really happens.
Well, you know what the cool part about the way I see acting. Again, I come from a law background, and I came into filmmaking really late in my career, but what I've discovered about acting is it's the study of the human psychology, and
absolutely. And that's my hobby, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't know.
Yeah,
but it's interesting when you tackle it that way because sometimes I go to a restaurant as a director and I'm looking at people and I just think, why did they pick that? Why are they eating that
My
way?
God,
why are they
you
sitting
remind me
there?
of my exercise.
Well, and to me, I call myself a thief because I take that stuff and I put it on my scripts.
There's
And
nothing wrong with that.
And it works. It's very organic. And then whenever I'm with an actor and they're having a hard time connecting, I say, well, why don't you tackle it this way, as opposed to thinking about it from a Meisner perspective or a Stedel perspective. Think about it from the human perspective. It's all about turning on and off an emotion. And you don't have to think or create a story in your head, but just think about that moment. And it really does help a lot. And I think, again, I didn't go to film school, but I do love the psychology behind the human brain, like how you can love someone and hate someone 5 minutes, and it's just interesting.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed acting with Tommy this time around in Best Friends is he was so flexible. I mean, we had a scene where like this clown gets up and like
almost kill me.
When I saw those clown shoes, I thought, "Oh, girl, we are in for something."
Well, the guy didn't know about acting. Speaking about acting,
yeah, it was like Tommy was on this old typewriter. You kind of saw a little bit at the end.
Yeah.
And so the guy just attacked Tommy and was choking him full force. And Tommy I was watching this going, I was like, what? And he's like, he let it go for a little bit, and then he's like jumped up. He's like, hey, I got to give you acting lessons here. You don't do that, but Tommy was so flexible in every scene. It was like he was just willing to go for it and try. And I think
that's awesome.
That's what I really enjoyed working with Tommy this time around. There was a lot of openness on the set.
Well, and it's funny that you say, because that's the word that I was trying to use, Tommy, in talking about your performance in Best Friends. It was very fluid. How much of the script was improv? Because there seemed some moments that were so organic and so natural. Did you ever stray from the script?
He mentioned Sarah Adler. Let me put on this note a little bit. You see, the imagination what you as an actor give to the table. But the one of a problem, I agree with you as well, that sometimes actors go too much. They put in their head, and you don't get an organic thing. I am happy to announce that I have maybe some organic stuff with myself. I don't know. That's Greg. But you see, I try not to think. I'm trying to do moment. Like you say, live moment by moment. And that's the good acting. But you know what? I'll be honest with you, my formula about acting and about actors, I think all the actors in the world doing a good job. Because when you go out there, even sometimes you see the difference, you as the director. That's why we need good directors to actually direct, not just to do bossing people around.
And just like hiding behind their camera too.
Well, that's another. I same here. I don't like that. I like it very like. For example, when we're working with on the Dark Knights with Greg, so we did some of it like improv, little bit, but the director was there. He actually coached us. We
lead you.
Yeah, and then the guy was actually choreographed the scene. So
I loved it, you guys. It was so fun to see you guys together in that scene. Greg, how did you present the script to Tommy? Did you guys read it through together? Were you a little nervous to present it to him?
Why don't you ask me, damn it?
But how was that when you, like, what were the feelings before you gave it? And Tommy, what were the feelings when
I give you 10 seconds. I give myself 10 seconds. Somebody call ring in. Do you want to make a movie? Yes. Okay, bye.
Great. That should be the answer all the time, right?
I was just hoping he was receptive to it, because I knew it was a part, not only like his personality, but visually, I thought it could be really interesting. So we would rehearse scenes every night. We'd go through each scene, we'd talk it out. He would tell me like what he's comfortable with, what he thought of the dialogue, and we would just adjust it accordingly and just go through the scene over and over and see what the beats were. So when we were on set, Tommy pretty much did all the lines. If there was a moment he felt something and he would throw something else in there, it worked. We stuck with it. But he was really prepared.
The chemistry was really palpable. And I love there's like a little singing in it. Your character likes to just sing phrases out. And I just read in BroadwayWorld.com that you might consider making The Room into a musical in a couple of years.
Oh my God, you should.
Actually, definitely. You can actually hook up with us. Who knows? Maybe you are good.
I do cabaret. I could do, oh, hi, Mark.
There you go. No, definitely.
Don't steal that, Tommy.
That's. I don't have to steal anything. I have my own stuff.
Boom! Shade by Tommy.
No, it's not. No. I'm just teasing.
I'm teasing.
I think you could be Chris R.
There you go.
Why not?
But your voice is very good, actually.
Well, it's very loud and high.
No, I you know what? To get actor with high pitch, it's extremely hard. So if
Just
you
give me a martini, I'm there.
Oh, okay. No, definitely to respond to your question, yeah, our plan is to actually put on Broadway, not off Broadway. You know what the difference is. I don't have to give you education here. But I think it's something unique that I think definitely musical. So you see, that's one of the best friend. I don't know who started. Help me with this.
With the
Did
singing?
You say it.
Yeah, I wanted
how
Tommy to
was-
sing a
he
Frank Sinatra
started-
song, "That's Life."
Yeah,
So
That's Life.
we were rehearsing the Sinatra song, and then I think Tommy just kind of got into singing, and he just would just.
I just sing a little bit.
But it's very funny because like it's so part of your character, and that's that fluidity that.
Oh yeah, you like it?
That I really see. And Greg, we really get to see some dramatic moments, and I loved how the whole beginning of the film. I'm not going to give anything away. Tommy does all the talking for a big chunk of the beginning until we finally get to hear you speak. You have to do a lot with your expressions. And I love that both of you guys are so inspired by classic Hollywood. I am so inspired by classic Hollywood. In fact, you guys should sit down with Tippi Hedren. She came on the radio show, and we talked about her work with Alfred Hitchcock. Of course, she was in The Birds and Marnie. And she's the only actress to have worked with Alfred Hitchcock, and she also acted in Charlie Chaplin's last directed film.
Oh,
So she
that's
has a
great.
wonderful insight. But on the filmmaking, dealing with the birds and the drama behind, I think you guys would have a very interesting conversation that would go viral.
Definitely.
Really. Now, how are the fans of The Room and The Disaster Artist? How are they taking in Best Friends?
Well, I mean, I don't think they knew what to expect. You know, I think you see
I
The
certainly
Room
didn't.
for so many years,
Yeah.
and you think you're going to get something, and I think Best Friends really surprised the audience. I think they really enjoyed the different direction it went.
I loved
and it was dark, it was mysterious, it still had some humor. So I didn't know what to expect when we showed it to the first audience. They flipped for it, so that really felt great. Because we make movies for our audience, and to
Right.
surprise them is a huge challenge. So.
Yeah. It was magical to see you guys together and to see the growth that you guys have come. Now, am I wrong? Were there throwbacks to The Room, such as throwing the basketball
No,
instead
actually-
of a football?
actually, you are
shave your
wrong.
beard off, like saying goodbye to Mark. You know what I mean?
Actually, it's
No?
not coincidence. I think it's destiny. But let's straight out the basketball.
Yes.
Greg?
So yeah, there weren't like the goal going in. There was nothing to do with The Room.
Okay, that's interesting.
But
Yeah, but the basketball story.
So basketball, basically, Tommy and I in real life have picked up basketball. We'll play
Really?
the best of 10 for like 2 hours shooting, and so we play basketball, and we were shooting on a real morgue here in LA.
That's one of the fan questions we got. Is that set was unbelievable, by the way.
Yeah,
That's by the way, that's a real mark.
Yeah.
And so one day we were filming a scene in the courtyard, and this white van came in and it had a body in it.
Real
And
one.
we're like, oh man, the continuity, we can't shoot that direction now because there's a white van there, and we couldn't really say, hey, move the dead body so we could shoot. So they brought the body in, so we took a break, and we just started playing basketball in the courtyard, and we turned it into a scene. So it wasn't room related. I mean, there's a spiral staircase, but that just happened to be there. So it just worked.
Just destiny.
Like you said,
But I am referring to basketball we played the time I was on the trip.
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing. So when we went to that trip to Bodega Bay, we stopped at Stinson Beach and played basketball
And we
with
lost.
12-year-olds, and we got destroyed.
There's a movie in that one too. It's like not my best friend.
And it was a very painful experience. So the basketball is coming from a lot of different angles.
But that's interesting. A fan will make connections whether they were
that's
intended
true.
or not.
But now people understand, I'm sorry to interrupt you, that people actually now understand that the best friends, nothing to do with The Room. And Disaster Artist also can stand by itself, which I enjoy it, because sometimes people see Disaster Artist, but they see The Room, they go back and forth, which is a really cool thing. I didn't realize till recently. So.
You guys are such an embodiment of like what a best friend is, having a friend in the industry. There's always ups and downs. Being in the industry is difficult enough on your own, but then dealing with true friendships. And in The Disaster Artist, we see from your point of view, Greg, we see some of the drama that happened behind the scenes of The Room, some of the drama of when you guys lived together. Was it hard deciding to come back to the environment? Obviously, it's not The Room, but it's filming. It's being together in that scenario. Were you trepidatious at all?
No, I mean, I think enough time had passed. I had been working on some TV show ideas. I was ready to be creative again, and I just kind of sat back and thought, like, Tommy, I think, is a really interesting actor, a really interesting presence, and he's never really been utilized. I mean, I feel like, ever since I met him in that class, it was a great role there, or great performance, but I feel like he'd been used more in parody scenes. And I thought, instead of going and trying to create something totally different, why don't we get together and make something this time to show that, there's more to us in the room, and just to get back together and make something with no expectation, just kind of getting back to being creative. So I didn't really think about expectation. I just thought, let's go make something that we're passionate about.
That takes some guts to take that step back out there. As we know, fans have embraced The Room, but fans are also very hard to please because they want to see the same thing over and over. And so when you mix up the chemistry a little bit, sometimes fans can be a little reticent.
That's what I did the Dark Knight.
Oh God, I still can't get it. I love it. We have a picture of you guys here.
Cool.
You guys look so good. I think that you guys, and then for our listeners, create a hashtag for this. I think they should give you guys a cameo in Joaquin Phoenix Joker origin.
They should. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, we have respect for everybody, but we call ourselves Rebel of Hollywood.
Rebels of Hollywood.
Or Hollywood Rebel, whatever you prefer.
There's like a record label in that name somewhere.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Maybe
that.
for your Frank Sinatra album, Tommy.
There you go.
All right, let's take a look at the trailer for Best Friends.
Trust me, friendship before money. Can you say that?
Yeah.
What?
Well, trust me, friendship before money.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a good story for you. A familiar story. One guy meet another in a big city. They have dream, but something changed. Greed, hatred, and jealousy. You understand the words?
It does give you the chills to see it in that format and then to actually watch it. I love the soundtrack, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Like all the musical interludes to it really add to...
Yeah, we were really lucky because Daniel Platzman from Imagine Dragons did the score for us. And he reached out. He's like, hey, I love the book. I love The Room. We watched it on our tour bus, Imagine Dragons watching The Room. And he just wanted to be a part of it, and he sent me some amazing stuff. And we were really lucky to have him be a part of it. And then also a band called Nice Legs, which was inspired by The Room, gave us some really good music too. So again, we were really lucky to have all these people kind of jump on board and help us.
That's awesome.
Tommy, are you still writing films?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I have a script.
I want to be in one of your movies.
Everyone wants to be.
But you know what? No, but you know what? I actually want to have you in one of my movies. I want to write a script for you, and I want to work with you one day. So I'm just putting it out
not?
there.
Everything is possible.
Tommy, what's your creative process when you get a script and how you prepare yourself for a role? Do you highlight your lines first? Do you create the character? What is your actual process?
I just look at the character with the simple question: where do you come from? What do you do? How you are? It's based on the situation, and I have a good skill like improvise, for example. So for some reason, I have a great teacher, Jean Shelton. She was studied with Star Adler, original Star Adler, long time ago, and I discovered with her, she actually opened for me was the acting. So I can talk about acting for the rest of my life and still will be not finished probably. So I the backgrounds, I think, as an actor, when you have more skills you have, the better. So definitely preparation is very important. And ironically, we don't see it with actors. We see always actors, and some of the actors, I feel that sometimes people exaggerate because say, oh, you know what, I'm just just prepare 5 minutes. That's not true. You did like 8 hours work or more because you have to actually study. It doesn't work.
It's a skill like any other job.
I think it also takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's something that a lot of artists don't understand.
Do I go out tonight or do I learn my lines?
Well, not aside from going out, but just in general. I recently worked with someone that didn't want to memorize their lines because they were just tired. I'm like, well, if you really want to do this, like. He's my best friend actually. I was helping him with a self-tape, and I said, well, if you really want this, you have to do the work. And it takes a lot of discipline. You did all the research, but if you don't want to film this because you're too tired, then what's the point? You're wasting casting director's time, you're wasting my time, but most importantly, you're wasting your time. And that's, again, to me, it's such a privilege to be able to do what I do every day because there's a lot of people out there that want to do what we do, and they can't for whatever reason. So.
Well,
the main thing is discipline.
But I'll be honest, you're right. Discipline, but also in original material as well as you need the vision. In case Greg, I don't know. Did you compete with me? No,
that's a sequel to The Disaster Artist.
You know what? He made San Francisco on film. I was like, I got to compete. I got to put an L. I got to make an LA movie.
Greg,
I just want to end on this note that. We always talk about vision, like we talk about movies. Like I admire a movie, like for example, Citizen Kane, Orson Welles, because he has a vision of his time. I don't know if you guys know the history, but they didn't want to actually screen his movie. They want to actually buy it, burn it. By the way, coincidentally, with The Room was the same thing. I have stories to tell, but they'll be later. But I always say original vision, and that's why I'm very happy that Greg actually stick out to his power within himself to do that.
I think that's the compelling story for both of you. It's you stick to your vision. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And for behind the scenes, Greg, I know that there's been careers ups and downs, which you're very honest about in The Disaster Artist. You were close to some really major film roles against like Josh Hartnett and Colin Farrell. How do you keep plugging away? How do you keep that positivity? How do you keep working towards that when you have some lows partnered with some highs?
I mean, I think the goal is just to try to continue to create. I was very lucky. A lot of people ask me, like, God, did you wish you could go back and not do The Room? But The Room was a huge gift because I was getting to the point where I kind of continued to try and I hadn't been in anything that worked. And then like around 2008, all of a sudden people started seeing The Room and it started getting covered around the world. And it gave me a second chance. So The Room was actually such a great gift. I mean, it was something that, every actor, every performer needs that one thing that an audience reacts to, and it gave me a chance to, to obviously write The Disaster Artist and now make best friends.
Everything that you guys are saying is like, it's so inspirational.
It is, because I think it also takes a lot to say something like that, because I work with people that don't feel proud about their work. And I don't know you guys, but you have. But it looks like you guys are, and it's like I've worked with people that say I don't want, where they say I don't want my name on this or that, and I'm just like, but why not? Like you made it, put it out. Who cares? Like I was talking to my manager. He's like, well, you're supposed to make films for an audience. I'm like, no, I make films for myself, and that's something that makes me very proud.
There has to be a parody though, because you have to tell a story that people want to respond to. Otherwise,
you have to tell a story that you feel confident about, that you want to tell. Because if you focus on, I personally speaking, if you focus on the audience and the premiere and everything that comes after that, then you're probably doing it for the wrong reasons. For me, it's like I want to tell a story because I just want to get it out of me, and it's just if I don't make film, I can't breathe. And it literally, like I've thought about quitting, and I start hyperventilating because to me this is something that I'm very passionate about. So it doesn't matter, from my first feature to my fourth that I'm gonna wrap in 2 days. I mean, I'm very proud of what I'm doing, and it's always the next thing that's going to come up. Like you said, keep creating content.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Keep going. You see, everybody have different views. It's not from wrong. When you have different views. Yeah. My view is, for example, that try to be original as much as you can, and what the message you want to present, you as a filmmaker. But again, it's not from wrong if you are subjective, and then you want to be subjective to whatever you presented. Maybe people embrace this. Sometimes people have different agenda, like documentary, for example. But at the same token, again, on the end of the day, it's the same thing. You need a vision, you need commitment, sacrifice, etc. So,
tell me, where did you come up with the story of The Room?
I used to when I was going to Laney College in Bay Area in San Francisco. actually Bay Area. When I'm in Oakland, I don't know if you're familiar with San Francisco, Oakland.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
My community.
There you go. So I have tendency to write on a piece of paper stuff, and then I say, it'd be nice to put in a nice book. And then I say to myself, you know what, it would be nice to do the play, because I love theater. I like it stage. That's when I met Greg. And then we was talking about movies. We became friends, etc. And I tried to impress him. And then I discovered all this stuff. I said, oh, God, I cannot believe it. So Greg actually helped me with the doing play on stage. So he does the research. We did two together. But I concluded in America, for example, number of people go to theater. It's much less, for example, UK. And then you have 2 weeks and it's over. And I say, no, I'm changing. There's no way. And the cost is very expensive.
I was going to say, we want people, we want the younger generation to go see theater. We don't make it affordable. It's become an elitist art, where theater used to be the art of the people, to tell stories that were not being told in bigger mediums.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you see, the problem is politics. And it's sad story to say that we are the richest country in the world. And, politicians spend, $500,000 for toilet instead of give to people who actually want to do art. And that's basically what they end up. Because like UK, they have a system that you have so many theaters that they have such a great support. And it's sad. It's sad me, because we are the richest country. And wasting time and money and for something which just does not work. And people will enjoy it. I will put my own money if I will find it, good organization, not corruption.
I'll start one tomorrow, Tommy. You
give
me some money. But it's funny you say that. I think we're the richest nation, but we're also the culturally
behind schedule,
the poorest nation.
Well, I agree totally.
Culture, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, we travel a lot. For example, UK, and Greg traveled to Australia and other countries as well. So we noticed that. But America is America. I think we can adjust that very easily. I think.
Tommy, is there any chance for the Room sequel?
No, at this time we'll go on Broadway first before we sequels. There'll be Broadway musical on Broadway called The Room, directed by Tommy Wiseau, and we'll see what happens.
I want to be on the fly on the wall for that casting process. I think that'll be a reality show in itself. You guys should do a reality show.
Let me tell you, my casting will be the same thing. So I will give people direction. Okay, what if you this person or that person? And I noticed if a big shot from Hollywood, they didn't like my casting, but that's their problem. It's not my problem. I'm very proud of my casting. Greg, you can mention casting the way how I...
Unforgettable.
Well, if what I read in The Disaster Artist is has any, truth to it, that's pretty crazy.
It was little...
Tommy!
No, but let me tell you, it's not for wrong if you want to test a person, if the person can deliver. That's what... Speaking about what you said.
He could survive the casting process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I would challenge you.
Absolutely. I like challenge.
Greg, let's talk about The Disaster Artist. I literally read it pretty much in 2 days, in between meetings and stuff. It's such a fun read. It really became my pocketbook. Were you scared in sitting down to write it as to how much you were going to tell of your story? Were you afraid of what Tommy was going to say?
I knew what the heart of the story was. And I think that, Tommy and I both had this experience. And I think the pinnacle moments are very similar for both of us. So when I got the idea, I told Tommy about it and I talked to him about different things. But really, the goal was to tell an inspiring story. And I think a lot of times when people write a book, they're trying to come up with salacious, strange stories. And really my goal was just
These stories weren't strange?
They were very strange. But I think they were true to the journey. And I think the goal with the story was to make people laugh, to make people understand what it's like to try to follow your dream, to tell the story of a unique friendship. A lot like, Best Friends. But this...
You said a lot of people actually cried. That's what I heard.
But I think it's a moving story. And I knew that... I felt like Tommy would be proud of it, even if there was moments that he didn't quite get or agree with. I knew in the end it was a proud story of our experience and friendship.
How weird was it to see your lives put on the big screen for the film version of The Disaster Artist? And let me just preamble this. James Franco made a movie about my friend, King Cobra, and he had his own experience with it. But what was it like for you guys? Number one, to be hanging out with these A-listers. Number two, to see your lives played by an actor.
I was correct. You can start first.
Well, I mean, when I wrote the book, the goal was for this to become its own movie because I loved Sunset Boulevard. I loved Ed Wood,
and Ed Wood is one of my favorite movies. If you haven't seen it, Johnny Depp, you have to go see it.
And so I really saw this as a great film. I thought the role of Tommy is the role of a lifetime, and I thought that was the goal. And so when I was picturing in my mind like who would play would it be Javier Bardem, Ryan Gosling?
That's a good choice, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, Johnny Depp supposed to.
Yeah, Johnny.
Well, Javier and Johnny both sing, so maybe they'll be available for the Broadway.
Who knows? Yeah.
So when I saw the movie, it was a little maybe less strange but it was it's still surreal.
I always say that we have opportunity to see first time. I was on the set of Disaster Artist. Everybody was courteous, and then another about the acting. I don't want to go that road, but some of the stuff is different what I'm used to. Mm-hmm. But overall, a very good job, and I think it looks like people embrace that, which I like it. I was very emotional in Canada at the time when the first time we've seen a big screen and we have a Q&A.
I can imagine, yeah.
Greg was very emotional on the stage. And because you see...
Be careful, he's Chris R.
You go. But I think, if you have a strong background, you just let people enjoy it. And if you can put positive spin, even negative stuff, and people relate to it, you accomplish something which is you cannot buy it for money. You cannot buy it because you want it. It's either there. And I think Sincere was there. In the past 2-3 years, I noticed even major media are much more enthusiastic about the room, what we're doing. So I'm very happy. Thank you for inviting us as well.
Well, you guys are so positive in everything that you talk about, such as things that you could talk about in a negative way, you choose not to, which is so inspiring, I'm sure, as a fellow filmmaker, yes. For all the people listening that are entertainment. Keep it positive because that positivity will result in success and it'll inspire the people around you. All right, so we end the show by doing rapid fire. It's not anything intense. We're going to give you rapid fire, and then you can tell our listeners where they can find you and also where they can find out more information about Best Friends. Who wants to go first?
It doesn't matter who does for us. You're in charge. I'm not in charge.
All right, Greg, let's start with you.
All right.
Your dream co-star.
Tommy Wiseau.
Oh, that's so nice. How about a dream co-star you haven't worked with?
Ryan Gosling.
Oh, well, he's mine, but with a different movie. Greg, what's the most embarrassing song on your playlist?
Firework by Katy Perry.
Oh wow. That is embarrassing. Okay, a classic film you wish you could go back in time and be the star of?
Sunset Boulevard.
Yes. Oh, I could totally see that. Yeah.
Well, I kind of did the modern version.
Yeah, you said it, not me. What's the first thing you did when you finished the last word of the Disaster Artist book and you typed done? What was the thing that you did?
Went out and got Mexican food.
Yes. Okay. Well, we love Mexican food.
El Compadre.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, we should all go for drinks sometime. Would you go back and do The Room all over again?
100%.
1,000%, 100%. I love that so much. Greg, tell our viewers where they can follow you personally on Instagram and all that good stuff.
I'm at Greg Sestero on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, at Greg Sestero.
And where can people find Best Friends?
Best Friends, Volume 1 is now available on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, YouTube. It's available now. You can watch it, and I think it'll change your life in a very unique way.
And do yourself a favor, buy the actual copy version of The Disaster Artist, or if you read it on your iPad, that's fine, but it's really fun to look at the pictures and actually hold the book in your hand. All right, Tommy, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, favorite movie you've seen in the last year, besides your own?
Last year, I don't have one.
Oh, okay, all right. Who would star in, and I think we kind of covered this, who would star in the Broadway version of The Room? If you had your dream star.
I'll be starring.
Okay, that is an honest answer. Would you shave your head for a film role?
I might. It's depending what the situation.
Okay, but it's a possibility?
Yes, it would be.
Really?
Oh my God.
And the film that I'm going to cast him in, I'm going to have him shave. I'm kidding.
What is your favorite guilty pleasure food?
That's a good one. Whipped cream.
Well, again, we have the same answer, but different scenarios. What is one thing you would tell yourself 20 years ago?
One more time?
What is one thing you would tell yourself 20 years ago if you could talk to yourself?
Good one. This is good challenge question. trust people more.
Interesting. That's an interesting
That's
answer.
that's what I would say.
And Tommy, where can our viewers follow you?
Yeah, Tommy Wiseau Twitter and TommyWiseau.com. Very simple.
You don't have much competition out there with your name.
Yeah, but by the way, you never asked me about TW underwear. I'm surprised.
Well, yes, let's talk about TW underwear. It's become quite popular.
Yeah, actually, I design my own clothes. As you know, you can go
Yes.
to TommyWiseau.com, and I'm very proud of it. My background is also design clothes. That's
You have a very distinct style, that's for sure.
Way back, actually, there was street fashions, and
In San Francisco, right?
Yeah, San
Yep.
Francisco. Greg actually mentioned the book, but yeah, that's something which I like to do. Very passionate about it. So actually, I bought a lot of underwear, and I couldn't find one would I really like it. In the sense,
Just make your
and
own. That's what you do. It's like, I don't see a movie I like. I'm going to make my own.
That's exactly what I did.
Once again, same subject. I'm very much into men's underwear, but you make it a business.
No problem.
Jorge, tell our viewers where they can find you.
You can find me on social media at Jorge Chilapa Jr. That's
please spell.
XOLALPA. I know my last name's Aztec, so it's
Yeah.
like very Aztec, yeah.
Perfect. And you have 2 films that are coming out, right?
I have a film that premieres this October. I can't say the festival yet. It's a pretty big festival, but I can say we're playing at the Chinese Theater, and you guys are invited. It's my third feature film, and it's been compared to Black Swan meets Gone Girl, so I'm really freaking excited. And yeah, so come watch it. I'll give you guys tickets.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and you inspire me, Jorge, by, you make your films happen as well. You put great teams together that are very devoted, and I think that's what it's about, is building a family that you trust in this industry. Right, Kurt? We're family.
Definitely.
You guys, this has been such a fun, very special episode of On the Rocks. Tommy actually brought me a script of the room he's going to sign. If you want to see the room in all of its crystal clear glory, please get it on Blu-ray.
By the way, we're not downloading. So I don't know if you guys heard about the YouTube stuff. So that was fraud. So just want to mention.
Oh yeah, because I heard that you put up the whole movie for
No,
free.
we
And I
did.
was like, what?
We did not. We did not. Somebody else did, and just thought that, it's just proud. Let's put this way.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Woo! This has been On the Rocks with Alexander, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Universal Broadcasting Network. Find me on Facebook on The Rocks Radio Show. Tweet me or Instagram me at On The Rocks On Air. See you next Tuesday!